Hook. Did you know that over 90% of entrepreneurs say the hardest part wasn't starting their business? It was figuring out what to do after the initial launch? You've built something. Now what? If you've made it this far in your entrepreneurship journey, first, congratulations. But here's the truth. The next steps phase is where most entrepreneurs either break through to something extraordinary or quietly fade out. Today, we're going to make sure you're in that first group. By the end of this video, you're going to understand how to evaluate where your business actually stands, how to scale without burning everything down, how to build a team that doesn't fall apart, how to think about exit strategies, and how to keep your entrepreneurial mindset sharp for the long haul. Let's get into it. Section 1. Evaluating your current position. Before you take any next step, you need to know exactly where you're standing. This sounds obvious, but most entrepreneurs skip this part. They're so focused on moving fast that they never stop to do an honest audit of where things really are. Think about three things: your financial health, your market position, and your operational capacity. Financially, are you profitable, breaking even, or burning through runway? Be honest. A lot of founders convince themselves things are almost there when the numbers tell a different story. Your market position asks, do customers know you exist, and do they prefer you over competitors? And operational capacity means, can your current systems, team, and processes actually handle growth? Or would doubling your customers right now break everything? This evaluation isn't about feeling good or bad about where you are. It's about getting a clear, accurate map before you start navigating. A pilot doesn't take off without checking instruments first. And here's what's interesting. Most entrepreneurs who do this honest audit discover at least one thing they thought was working that actually isn't. So what do you do once you find those gaps? That's where the next step becomes critical. Section 2. Scaling your business strategically. Scaling is one of the most misunderstood words in entrepreneurship. A lot of people think scaling just means getting bigger, more customers, more revenue, more everything. But real scaling means growing your revenue faster than your costs. That's the actual goal. There are a few proven paths to scale. You can go deeper into your existing market, sell more to the people who already trust you. You can expand horizontally by entering new markets or new customer segments. Or you can scale vertically by owning more of your supply chain or distribution. The trap most entrepreneurs fall into is trying to do all three at once. Spreading resources too thin leads to mediocre execution everywhere. The better move is to identify your single highest leverage growth path and go all in on that first. You also need to think about scalable systems. If every new customer requires the same amount of manual effort from you personally, you haven't built a scalable business. You've just built a very demanding job. Automation, standardized processes, and clear documentation are what turn a hustle into a real company. Now, scaling requires resources, and resources require funding decisions. So how do you figure out who should actually be in your corner financially and otherwise? That connects directly to something most entrepreneurs underestimate. Section 3. Building the right team. There's a saying in the startup world, hire slow, fire fast. And while that might sound harsh, there's real wisdom in it. The people you bring onto your team at this stage will either multiply your impact or drain your energy and resources. At the next steps phase, you're likely transitioning from doing everything yourself to building a team that can execute without you holding their hand through every decision. That shift is harder than it sounds, especially for founders who built their identity around being the one who gets things done. The key is hiring for complementary strengths, not just skills. If you're great at vision and big ideas but terrible at operations and details, your next hire shouldn't be another visionary. You need someone who loves spreadsheets and systems. Culture also matters enormously at this stage. Early hires set the tone for everything that comes after. A team member who's brilliant but toxic to the culture will cost you far more than their salary. They'll cost you future great hires who won't want to work in that environment. Compensation structures, equity arrangements, clear role expectations, these aren't just HR paperwork. They're the foundation of trust between you and the people betting on your vision with their time and talent. But here's the thing, even when you build a great team and scale successfully, every entrepreneur eventually has to face a question they often avoid thinking about. What happens at the end of this? And the answer might surprise you. Section 4. Understanding exit strategies. An exit strategy isn't giving up. It's actually one of the clearest signs of a sophisticated entrepreneur. Knowing where you want to end up helps you make better decisions every single day about how you build. There are several common exit paths. You could pursue an acquisition, selling your company to a larger business. This is often the most common goal for startups. You could pursue an IPO, taking the company public, though this is relatively rare and requires significant scale. You might plan a management buyout, where your leadership team purchases the business from you. Or you could plan for succession, transitioning the business to a family member or long-term employee. Each of these paths requires different preparation. An acquisition requires you to build something that's valuable to a buyer. Clean financials, strong brand, loyal customer base, systems that run without you. An IPO path means thinking about governance and regulatory compliance early. Succession planning means developing internal leaders years before you need them. The biggest mistake is treating exit strategy as something to think about later. Your exit strategy should actually inform how you structure the business from the beginning. It shapes everything from legal structure to how you take on investors. So you've evaluated, you've scaled, you've built a team, and you've got a path toward an eventual exit. But none of that matters if you personally run out of fuel, which leads us to the most underrated next step of all. Section 5. Sustaining the entrepreneurial mindset. Entrepreneurship is a long game, and sustaining the mindset that got you here. The curiosity, the resilience, the willingness to take calculated risks requires intentional effort. It doesn't just happen automatically. Successful entrepreneurs at this stage do a few things consistently. They stay connected to learning, reading, attending events, having real conversations with other founders who are ahead of them. They protect their mental and physical energy because decision fatigue is real and it degrades the quality of every choice you make. They also revisit their why regularly. The thing that motivated you to start often gets buried under the day-to-day grind. Reconnecting with your purpose isn't a soft exercise. It's a strategic one. Purpose-driven entrepreneurs make better long-term decisions. And they embrace the identity shift. You are no longer just the person who started something. You are now the person who builds, leads, and sustains something. That's a different role, and it requires a different version of you. Closing. So let's bring it all together. Evaluating your position honestly, scaling strategically, building the right team, planning your exit, and sustaining your mindset. These are the next steps that separate entrepreneurs who build lasting businesses from those who plateau. Now here's your challenge. Pick just one of these 5 areas and write down one concrete action you can take this week. Just one. Small, consistent moves compound into massive results over time. If this video helped you think differently about your entrepreneurship journey, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this content. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And drop a comment below. Which of these 5 areas do you feel least prepared for right now? I read every single comment, and I'd love to hear where you're at. See you in the next one.